It is Thursday, October 13th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our good friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Pair of divisional round games, one won by a home team, one won by the road team. And let's start with the nightcap out in Los Angeles, although I guess both were kind of played under the lights because the game in Atlanta was pushed back because of bad weather for 3 hours. But let's start with the Padres. We've had a pair of games out in LA decided by 5-3 scores. On Wednesday night, San Diego's bullpen was probably the main story here. How shocked are you that the Padres pen has not allowed a run to the Dodgers so far in 2 games?
I'm shocked, but not because, I think they've been doing so great. They've been wiggling out of jams every inning tonight. It was pressure. And yes, we're making our pitches. We're getting the double plays, but we're also getting some balls hit at some people pretty hardly. So it's kind of like you look at the stats, you're saying, well, they're doing so great. They haven't allowed, any runs. And I think only 2 hits. But they were in trouble, whether it was via walk or whatever. There was traffic on the bases, but like you said, they're getting the job done, and that is not something I really expected. If you were to tell me the Dodgers were getting that much traffic on the bases, I would have told you the Dodgers win both of these games. But here we are.
Yeah, I definitely feel like San Diego dodged and weaved their way out of traffic, which is something you have to do when you're out in Southern California, whether you're in LA or San Diego. They had to pitch a ton of innings in the first game of the series, because Clevenger didn't even give him 3 innings. Now, Darvish was not nearly as good as he was against the Mets, but at least he worked into the 6th inning. And then from there, they kind of pieced it together. By the way, what is that wine you're drinking?
Don't worry about it. It was a beer.
Hold that up.
Stop, man. Beautiful.
That does not look like either. That does not look like a beer. That is a wine glass.
It's a beer glass, a nice beer glass. Why are you getting sidetracked right now? We're talking about this beautiful game. One of the better games of the season, by the way. I mean, and I thought AJ Pierzynski was really good on it. He was talking about how exciting and all the little intricacies that happened. I mean, you had good defense, bad defense, good pitching, bad pitching, everything. It was awesome. And a goose.
Yeah, and the goose. We'll get to the goose later. But it was, you're right. The Dodgers had the best/worst defensive game ever. Trey Turner's going to be kicking himself. He had to get an out and he couldn't do it. And it prolonged that inning. And the Padres ended up putting up some runs on the board. And then the Dodgers, the back-to-back plays by Gretterall and Bellinger were fantastic.
They were incredible. I mean, I tweeted about the Gratterall run. I mean, he shouldn't even really been making that play. Like, you really want your pitcher to get out of the way, but he kind of took over, called Muncy off. And I mentioned how he got that 4-seam grip. It gave him the ability to land that throw. I mean, that was a perfect throw. It made it by plenty of time, but even if it was a bang play, he would have got him out because of that throw. And then I came up with I thought everyone was going to be on this. Cody Bellarina, the way he turned twice to catch that ball. But nobody put that on Twitter. Maybe it's a bad joke. I don't know.
Sorry.
Bad one.
Yeah, don't love it. Probably should have just saved it for the old in between the ears. Just thought it.
It's in my draft. It's in my drafts.
Yeah, that's exactly where it should have stayed. I've had plenty of those that I've said over the years. Yes.
I do want to say, I said that, the bullpen, if you look at the numbers, is a little bit different. There was traffic, but Hader looks really good. And that has to be really refreshing for Padres fans. I mean, for him to continue to pitch the way he had at the end of the season into the postseason, that's a good thing.
And by the way, that kid Suarez has got some nasty stuff. Yeah, he's
great
good.
Story too. Yeah.
I do want to focus very quickly on Manny Machado, right? First inning homer, double to get him going a little bit later. In your opinion, we know he's been great over the years. The guy has been an MVP candidate at times throughout his career. Has he kind of jumped a level, in your opinion, based on what he has done this season?
I don't know if he's jumped a level, because I've always held him in very high regard. Anybody around baseball will tell you the same thing. He's one of the most talented players in all of baseball. And there's no doubt about that. And I think he is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Like, this year, like being able to do this, at 30, I know that's not that old, but to put up, what was his WAR this year? 6.8 Baseball Reference WAR. Putting those seasons up now, and like you can envision him doing that for 2, 3, 4, 5 more years in a row, playing in his prime like this. I mean, that's the Hall of Fame type stuff. So I don't think he jumped a level on your ladder, as you say, but he's definitely cementing his place where he is.
I would say yes, only because the Padres offense for much of this year was poor. He didn't have anybody else to rely on until Juan Soto got there, and Soto struggled for, the first bit in Padres colors. Yes. So, we were expecting Fernando Tatis. We heard he was coming back in May, and then it was June, and then July, and now he's getting ready, and he gets suspended. So, it was basically Machado's boat to row the entire time, certainly for the bulk of the season. And he continues to wow me, and I could watch that guy field ground balls all freaking day. Yeah.
That's what I'm curious. How long is he going to play that kind of defense? That's going to be difficult to keep into his later years, but I think he has a chance to hit 500 home runs. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Well, I would say that. The world champs didn't look great for a while. They were in a scoreless duel, but Kyle Wright outdueled Zach Wheeler in this one to even the Braves series at 1 with the Phillies. How big a story is Wright's development this season?
It's a big story. I mean, for a couple different reasons. Obviously, you like the production that you're getting, but it also just gives you an extra layer to your rotation. And I think kind of the overlooked aspect of this is when you have the 5th overall pick in a draft, you need to hit on him. And the Braves hit on this guy. So it just kind of adds to what the Braves have done. Develop players, get guys up, have them perform early, get that value out of them, if you will. And I was watching him tonight. I don't know if people have made this comparison before. Does he have like a little Jacob deGrom in him? Do you see that in his windup at all? Because I did a lot tonight, and that's pretty good to have that comparison.
Yeah, maybe. I guess the physical windup, obviously, the fastball.
Yeah, the windup. That's what I'm talking. Mechanics wise.
Okay,
yeah.
Mechanically, yeah, I could see that a little bit. I could see that.
Stuff plays, Chris. It was nasty and crisp.
Yeah, it was nasty. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to talk about a lot of other things in this game, like that inning that they strung together all those hits. But Kyle Wright, I mean, was probably the main reason they won that game.
Yeah. I have to admit, I had watched maybe an inning or two of Kyle Wright pitch all season, and it wasn't because I wasn't interested. It just happened to be like when I felt like the Braves were playing a big game, somebody else was pitching. Sure. He wasn't, for whatever reason, he wasn't appointment viewing for me, and maybe shame on me. I enjoyed watching him pitch tonight. I've read up a little bit more on his story, obviously. He was 2-8 as a major leaguer before this season, where he became the only 20-game winner in all of baseball. To me, that still means something. And, I just thought overall it was a big deal that he, I just thought he was fantastic and a ton of fun to watch. It was that simple.
Bandy boys, man, they know how to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. I enjoy him. He's talked about openly, like, having to deal with some mental health issues, making sure that he's good to go. I like him being vulnerable. He's an easy kid to root for, and he was fantastic tonight. And I felt terribly for Wheeler. He's dominating, and then he hits Acuna with 2 outs, and then he walks Swanson, and then Olsen hits a grounder under Rhys Hoskins' mitt, and Hoskins has not been a good defender over there. He had to at least knock it down. He didn't. Floodgates open. 3-0's your final. Big picture here. Philly goes back with a split. Do you think they feel good about it, or was it a missed opportunity because they had a 1-0 series lead with their dude on the mound?
I think if you talk to Philly fans and probably anybody in that clubhouse and you told them you're going to come away in Atlanta with a split and you got Aaron Nola going game 3, I think you'd be happy with it. The bats didn't show up today. The bottom line, Kyle Wright happened. The Braves brought their A bullpen in. Kenley looked great. Rysel looked great. So it was one of those games where you just didn't hit, and that's the bottom line. So I think going back into Philly, having this off day, hitters are going to feel comfortable. Hopefully they keep the ball rolling there. But, I mean, if you go up 2-1 after a nice Nola start and a couple bombs from Schwarber and Hoskins and Harper, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, right? They're in a great position right now in this series.
I'm going to look at it a slightly different way. Yes, when you're the road team, you go in to a 5-game set saying we've got to get a split at the beginning. We've got to get a split. But the minute you win that game 1, when they're throwing their dude and you're throwing your third best guy by far, then you feel like you've got to win that second game with Zach Wheeler on the mound, because now they go back, they got Nola, but then what's the plan? Because the schedule's so weird. I mean, they're not going to feel great about whomever they got to go with in the 4th game. And then the 5th game, you're either going Ranger Suarez on full rest, decent option, but you're going to be an underdog to Max Fried, or you have to go Wheeler on short rest.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. They might run Ranger out there on short rest and Wheeler out there on short rest. But did you really think Philly was going to sweep the Braves 3-0? I mean, that's
no, but
I don't think that was ever going to happen.
But your expectations change the minute the series starts. Your thought process does. You win that first game. If you're Philly and you want to beat the champs, you've got to come out with a win. And Wheeler pitched well enough to do that. It was their shoddy defense that really kind of let them down.
Shoddy defense and just well-placed, like a swinging bunt by Riley. Nothing you could do there.
I mean, that was great. Yeah.
Hoskins, I think, ended up being a base hit, but Reese needs to field that ball. No doubt about it. Kind of stayed down on him a little bit right there. I don't know if he needed to go down to like his knees there either. So it's baseball though.
Yeah, I know. By the way, can we agree that if that game is played before the thunderstorms, there's like 3 or 4 homers in the game?
Yeah, probably. But I think they did a good job with that, not starting the game, understanding what that starting pitching means in the playoffs. You can't be burning these dudes, so you have to get to the real window. You can't just say, oh, we got a little one, let's start. You know, I know it's not ideal for the players, but you'd rather do that. You'd rather just say, let's wait until we can play the game through, because I do not want to get hot and then have a rain delay. It's just lose our starter.
That's the worst thing. Yeah, when it affects your pitching, no question. Hey, this edition of Baseball Today is presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. I want you to follow a few special instructions here. Grab your phone, go to the App Store, download the SeatGeek app, because I want you getting the best seats around, whether it's for a playoff baseball game, NFL, college football game. The puck is dropped on the NHL season. NBA gets started next week. Maybe you want to hear your favorite artist perform at a concert, whatever it is. Use the SeatGeek app and use the code JOHNBOYPlayoffs. You're going to save 10% on your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. Usually these things are only open if you're a first-time buyer. But if you're a repeat customer, you still get 10% off. Once again, the code word JOHNBOYPlayoffs. Okay, so use that. Here's the cool thing about SeatGeek that it does where these other apps don't do. They rank the seating for you. Every ticket is rated on a scale of 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting the best deal. Plus, they color code it. So green, like Plouf's microphone, good. Red, like the bill of my Guardians cap, bad. I mean, the hat's good, but the seat would be bad. So green, good. Red, bad. Let them do the homework for you. Let us help you save some dough. Download the SeatGeek app at the App Store. John Boy Playoffs. Save 10% whether you're a first-time customer or a returnee. Go get your tickets today, courtesy of SeatGeek. All right, we continue on, and the American League Divisional Round Series continue after a day off in between games 1 and 2. Biggest question for Cleveland to try and even its series with the New York Yankees is what?
Can they hit, I guess, is the biggest one, but I'm not going to go there. It's too easy. I mean, the offense, let's go, guys. You need to get it going. I guess it's like, is the formula going to work right now? Like, you have Bieber and McKenzie lined up the next 2 games. Can you rely on those 2 guys to get you victories? Because if you go take this game with Bieber and he throws a gem and you find a way to get the offense going against Nestor, then I'd feel pretty good about Cleveland's chances with McKenzie going for game 3. So that's kind of been their formula. Like, let's get some really good starting pitching. We have a bullpen that can shut it down too. And then we just need to get a few runs. Like, I want to see if Bieber can continue doing what he's done. I mean, his last, I think, 13 starts, I'm reading here, going back to July 29th, 2.04 ERA through 88 in the 3rd innings, 88 Ks. And that if he continues to pitch like that, I mean, that's their formula. But I mean, the real answer to this question, Chris, is can they hit?
It is. And it's something they have not done against the Game 2 starter, Nestor Cortez. I think combined, they're 4 for 31 without an extra base hit, the guys on this team that are on the roster. That's a tough go. So it really does focus on Shane Bieber. Let's remember, he won the Cy Young in the abbreviated 2020 season. The then Indians faced the Yankees in the postseason, and second batter of the game, Aaron Judge, clicked him. And Yankees had a 2-0 lead, and they didn't lose the game in the series. So I know that's probably hung over Bieber's head for a while. On top of that, a lot of these Yankees have really good numbers against Shane Bieber. Collectively, they have over a 1. OPS, 6 home runs in 68 at-bats. He's got to keep them in this game. Like, they can't be down 2 or 3-0 after the first inning. Cleveland is not built to play catch-up baseball. Just not. Certainly not against the Yankees team that can throw the ball the way it can. So we'll see.
Exactly.
Other series, true or false? The off day helped Seattle shake off Jordan's walk-off job in game 1.
I think true for sure. Like, you have that time to, as Torrey Hunter used to say, have amnesia, get over it. Okay. If they had to come back right away, maybe some of the shell shock would still be there, because that's what it was, Chris. I mean, they had that game. And Jordan stole it from them. So I think I talked about this either here or with Jake, and I said, they could look at that game and say, we were beating the Astros handedly. Bregman came back and had a big homer against us, and then Jordan did his thing, but like, we were winning that game. It was just one pitch, maybe it was just one bad move from our manager away from us going up 1-0. So I think as you have this off day, you start to think like that. Okay. And you get your confidence back. I think they'll be completely ready, especially with having Luis Castillo on the mound. This is not a Mariners team that's going to come out gun shy or anything like that.
That's the biggest deal. It's not the off day. It's who's throwing the ball for you. Luis Castillo was filthy against the Blue Jays, right? He pitched shutout ball in his start. And the Astros, very few of these guys have ever seen him. I think only 4 guys, and I don't think anybody has more than maybe 3 at-bats that's going to be playing against him. So that's the biggest deal. This is why they pulled the trigger. We talked about how great it was, how big a story it was that Seattle brought him out there, that they were willing to give up some big-time prospects because we need Luis Castillo to set the tone against the Blue Jays. Well, now they really need him to save their season against the Houston Astros. It would be really hard for them to win 3 straight. So if they can go back to Seattle tied at 1, this is the big deal. I mean, we didn't even talk about the monster on the other side with Framber Valdez, who's been as consistent as anyone. He might not have the shine and the sparkle that some other pitchers do, but if you're asking a dude to plug in some good numbers before he ever takes the mound, that's him.
Yeah, but you watch him pitch. You actually watch Framber and watch what he does throughout the season. I mean, he's a pitcher. He does have stuff too. I know it's not like as crisp as you want, I guess you could say, but he can run it up there and he can spin it and add and subtract. I mean, he's not just the pitcher. I think he does have plus stuff as well to go along with it. You don't go that many quality starts in a row without having stuff. So I'm excited about this. I cannot wait to see Luis Castillo match up against some of these hitters. Like, that is pure joy in baseball when you have one of the best on the mound against some of these hitters in this lineup, like him versus Jordan. Look out, dude. Like, that's must watch TV. Luis Castillo versus Jordan. And I don't even care what the situation is. Just watching those two guys go to battle against each other is incredible.
Quick reminder that today's edition of Baseball Today is also presented to you by our friends over at Muggsy Jeans, the most damn comfortable denim that you will ever wear. They fit you perfectly every single time. In fact, it's such a good product. I got myself a second pair of Muggsy Jeans, right? I had the charcoal gray, which I was wearing on the stream on Wednesday. I went out and got myself a blue pair, just regular old blue jeans. And I wore those during Tuesday's stream. So they're really comfortable. They got the stretchy denim. So whether you're in perfect shape right now, or if you're maybe a few pounds heavier than where you want to be, I'm not going to tell you exactly where I am. They're going to be comfortable. They're going to look great. They come in an array of colors. So you're talking about if you've got all sorts of wild, wacky tops that you want to be wearing, let's go get the right color Mugsy jeans to go help you out. It is that simple. So head on over to Mugsy.com. Use the code word baseball for 10% off and free shipping. I guarantee it's going to be the most comfortable jeans that you have ever worn. That is Mugsy.com. Code word there, baseball, 10% off your entire order and free shipping. Also, I haven't heard one person who doesn't love these jeans, but if you're out there, you can return them free of charge. So go experience life-changing comfort courtesy of Mugsy. All right, before we get out of here, late going of the Padres-Dodgers game. Some people thought it was a duck. It was a goose hanging out just behind second base. First of all, did you know that was a goose over a duck?
I did know it was a goose.
You did?
I did. I saw it. And then at first, when they were panned out, Chris, I was like, someone just go run at that thing. It'll fly away. But then when they shot the close-up, that thing was menacing, and it was looking for a fight. It was not there just to hang around, dude. It was like, he put his wings up like that. The beak was out. Like, I didn't want any part of that. So, like, you think Lux just go turn around and like go like kind of kick it or shoot it away. Not kick it, what I mean? But
we're not kicking
the goose. But that thing was menacing, bro. And I almost, everyone's saying, is that going to be the rally goose? It almost happened, man. There's a base hit after that. And then I didn't
love the way they handled it. They put it inside the towel and they put it inside of the recycling can, and that kind of bothered me a little.
Where'd they go with it?
Huh?
Down the tunnel, right? They just brought it inside or something?
They took it down the tunnel. Somebody will do a story, particularly in Los Angeles, on the goose. They're going to update it on the local news. I'm sure we'll have it on Friday's show. What do you have coming up, John Boy Media? I know you got talking baseball. Anything else?
Talking baseball. That's it. Duck, by the way, is one of my favorite proteins, just in case you were wondering.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
What do you got, bro?
Latest episode of the Rose Rotation with Tyler Glass now is out. We actually just recorded it on Wednesday, so it's very timely. We talk about what it was like to start the game that went 0-0 into the 15th inning and the suddenness of losing on a walk-off, and that's the way your season goes. We talked a lot about what his offseason is going to look like as well. He's doing a ton of traveling. He's having a ton of fun, and he says something very interesting about the way his body is built. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. I think I'm going to hang out with him this offseason. I'm going to make that a point. How about that?
We talked about that too, that we need to see each other. I think it's Glass and Trevor May are the only two guys I haven't met in person.
Okay. Two excellent individuals too.
I know. So I got to make this happen. There's no question about it. All right. Listen, we appreciate everybody taking their time to consume the product, whether it's via the podcast form or on our YouTube channel, or whether you're live on AMP. We always appreciate it. We'll continue to come your way throughout the postseason. So we will see you Friday. Well, first, I want to thank our amazing one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and that is Trevor Plouffe. And I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday on Baseball Today.